Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Ol'SargeCollects. Today I've got an SGC return. It's actually my first return for the year. I submitted this on January 3rd, and it arrived today on February 3rd. So it took an entire month door to door, but it's my first SGC return of the year, and I plan on doing one of these each month. So we'll see, throughout the year how these SGC returns go. Anyway, I've got this stack right here is all reholders. Most of these were PSA, and so if you want to stick around to the end, you'll see how PSA did compared to how SGC graded them. But before I get into those, I want to show you the cards that I sent off that were ungraded. And so I'm going to start with just a couple of Diamond Stars. So the first one that I sent off was this Ray Hayworth, card number 90 of the Diamond Star set. So I thought that this was going to come back a 3, and it came back a 2.5. And here's the back. And then the next one that I sent off was this Hal Trotsky, and I thought that this was going to be a 3, and I was correct. It came back a 3. So both of these two cards I'm either going to sell or I'm going to give away in a upcoming giveaway. So I got a couple of OBAC cards graded, and this one's pretty beat up, but this is Clarence Brooks. Or not Clarence, I forget what his first name is. It's it's something Brooks, and this is from the 1910 OBAC cigarettes T212 series. Pretty, like I said, pretty beat up, but I happen to PC this player. Here's the back, and then another OBAC card I wanted to do was this one right here, this Lurchin. And love the image on this one. You've got that solid red background, and then you've got different shades of green that he's wearing. So really just kind of a neat image. So here's the front. This came back as a 2, and here's the back. Notice that the OBAC the backs are different on these. So one is from 1911, and the other one's from 1910. And then I got a 1913 Nap Lajoie game card, and this is in the blue tint, and I already have a red tint in a matching 5, so that's going to be really cool having these side by side. And here's the back on that game card. Now let me ask you something. So I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there is a scratch right there on the holder, and I've actually got a scratch on another card as well. Which one was it? Here it is. This card I already showed you. So there's a scratch right there all the way across. It's not a crack, it's just a scratch. And then same thing with this one right here. So let me ask you this, write down in the comments, would you send these back to SGC to have them reholdered because of these scratches that are on the cases? Let me know what you would do in this situation. All right, so here's another one I'm going to be selling because I actually have one to replace it. This was just a placeholder, but this is from the 1882 Kozak and Company. This is the shortstop position for the. It actually doesn't say. It doesn't say what series it is, but this is actually the Circle series. So I'm surprised the flip isn't correct. But anyway, so it was trimmed down here at the bottom. And hang on just a second. I'm going to grab the other one that I have, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so here's the difference you'll see. If I were to put these side by side, you've got a much larger card here. You know, there's quite a bit missing. So anyway, I'll be selling this one. Here's what the back looks like. And then here's one I'm particularly proud of. I really love this image. This is the 1880s Clarence Brooks and Company baseball at Blackville trade card. Now, my good buddy Tom over at Collector Not Hoarder, he told me that this used to be a calendar. I can see why, because it's got that little circle right there where you would, you know, pin it up. But anyway, just look at that image, and you know, perfect image for someone who collects Negro Leaguers. Really just awesome image. And down here at the bottom, if you can read that, it says, "Baseball at Blackville, the White Stockings against the Black Legs, first blood for the Black Legs." And as you can see here, somebody pitched a ball, and it's beaming that batter in the face. So I guess that's what they're talking about as far as first blood goes. Anyway, so this is staying in the PC, and I will not be selling this. Love that image. Really happy to have that. So, and so let's put that there for you to take a look at. And then I'm going to go through, those were all the raw ones that you've never seen before. If you've been following my channel and you've been watching my Diamond Stars series, all of these are Diamond Stars cards, and they're all reholders. So I'm going to go through these rather quick and just show you what these got. Now, like I said, they were reholders, so I'm going to let you know what the other grading company had and then what SGC graded them, okay? So the first one is going to be this Max Bishop. This originally was a PSA 4, and it crossed over to an SGC 4. And here's the back. And the next one is Roy Mahaffey. Again, this was a PSA 4, and it crossed over to an SGC 4. And thankfully, this Mickey Cochran was a PSA 5, and it crossed over as an SGC 5. I'm really happy about that. I generally plan on, if I'm going to purchase an SGC card, I generally plan on, you know, what I want the SGC grade to eventually be. I know some of you are probably like, well, why are you crossing over in the first place? I happen to, whenever I collect an entire set, I want it to be all in one holder. And so that's why all of my PSAs were crossed over. Anyway, this is Joe Vosmick. This was a PSA 5, and it crossed over to a SGC 5. Here we got George Blayholder. This was a PSA 4, and it crossed over to that SGC 4. I will say this, all of these cards look so much better to me in an SGC holder. All right, so this is Johnny Vergez, and this was a PSA 4, and it crossed over. So far, PSA and SGC are thinking alike on these. So this was Walter Berger, again PSA 4, and it crossed over to the SGC 4. Then we got Ben Chapman. So I took a hit on this one. This was a PSA 6, and it got downgraded to a SGC 5. Here's the back on that. Not a huge hit in my opinion. So next is Ted Lyons. Ted Lyons was a PSA 4 and now an SGC 4. And we got JoJo White. He was a PSA 4 and now an SGC 4. I think Diamond Stars cards just look so much better in an SGC holder. Really, all vintage cards do, but especially the Diamond Stars. I'm very fond of the Diamond Stars set. So this next one is, hang on a second. Why is John Whitehead out of place here? So the next one is John Whitehead. He was a PSA 4 and he's now an SGC 4. Okay, now we have, wait a minute. JoJo White. Oh, I'm all messed up now, huh? Here we go. George Steinbeck. He was a PSA 6 and got downgraded to a SGC 5. So that's another hit that I took. And then we got Gus Sir. He was a GMA 5 and turned out to be an SGC 4. Now, here's my belief on SGC. I believe SGC is actually grading the right way. I have more faith in SGC than I do PSA. So I actually do believe that these are the accurate grades. Here we have Glenn Myatt. This was a PSA 6. It's now an SGC 5. Again, no worries here, but that's like the third or fourth hit that I took. Next is Jim Bottomley. This hit I don't really care for too much. So this was a PSA 4 and it went down half a grade to a SGC 3.5. So it's never good when you take a hit on a Hall of Famer. So then you got Frank House, and Frank House was a PSA 4 and he is now an SGC 4. Then you got Tony Piett. Tony Piett was a PSA 4 and he's now an SGC 4. And who else we got? We got John Babbage. John Babbage was a PSA 4 and he's now an SGC 4. Okay. Frank Crissetti. Frank Crissetti was a PSA 4 and he went up half a grade. Now he's an SGC 4.5. So that's a good thing. And then we got Steve O'Neill, and he was a PSA 4.5, and he is an SGC 4.5. So equal crossover there. And then lastly, we got George Selkirk, was a PSA 5. He's now an SGC 5. Now that I have the light shining on it, it looks like I have some scratches on that one too. So again, let me know what would you do? Would you send these back to SGC? All right, and then last but not least, we have another Ray Hayworth. This one's in a 3.5, and it was a PSA 3.5. So the one that I sent in, that's a 2.5. I'll definitely be selling. You can tell the difference between the 3.5 and the 2.5. This 3.5 is so much cleaner and brighter than that 2.5 is. So anyway, that is my SGC return, the first one for the year. Hope you guys enjoyed. Keep hunting the good stuff, and we will talk to you soon.